The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
It's time for Doing It with Style.
You've either got or you haven't got style.
If you got it, you stand out a mile.
Hey, welcome to Doing It with Styles today, and do I have a special treat for all my race fans out there. Here on Doing It with Styles today, we have the one and only Las Vegas's own Grady O'Grady, the Las Vegas's #1 racing expert in town. Anybody that wants to know anything about racing calls this man. When the bookies are over in the casinos and they want to know what the odds are, they call Grady. Isn't that right, Grady?
Not exactly.
Oh, okay. Did I exaggerate a little bit?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. So I understand that you know a little bit about racing. You're a big racing fan.
Absolutely, yes.
What kind of racing? I mean, there's motorcycle racing, there's auto racing, there's NASCAR, there's dirt track, there's airplane races. What is your kind of interest?
I enjoy every kind of racing, except for airplane racing.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's hard to watch, isn't it?
It is hard to watch, and I don't understand it, so I don't.
And they're gone.
Yeah, exactly right. And I don't know how they score them anyway, so.
Yeah.
But, no, I enjoy all types of racing. Asphalt, dirt racing. I grew up on dirt racing. And,
oh, no kidding.
Oh, yes.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania.
Oh,
and
they have racing in Pennsylvania?
Absolutely.
So you're not from Georgia or Alabama or Mississippi or someplace down there where your grandfather was running moonshine and that's how you got into racing?
Well, I wish I would have been, but I didn't. But no, Western Pennsylvania and all of Pennsylvania is pretty much a
what?
Pretty much a hotbed for racing.
Really?
Okay. Yes.
I never would have believed that. That's So what are some of the big name tracks that you have there?
Well, there's a lot of tracks in Western Pennsylvania and Central Pennsylvania. There's of course Williams Grove Speedway is one of the biggest tracks, the biggest known tracks.
Right.
I mean, all the guys raced there, from A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti, and all those guys. It's got a big history.
Who's the most famous racer from Pennsylvania?
Oh, there's several. Well, Mario Andretti's from Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
No shit.
Yes, he is. And he's from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And there's just been a lot of people that came up through Pennsylvania that that had raced there.
Right.
And but I'd say Mario's most famous.
Because most people, when they hear Pennsylvania, they think of steel. You know, the steel mills were there and all that stuff, and so.
Or Amish Dutch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. But that's not very true. But anyway, there's just all kind of really great tracks if you're a dirt fan. And I'm a big sprint car fan. So.
Okay.
I mean, there's a place in Ohio. Ohio's a hotbed too for racing.
Right.
They got Eldora Speedway. They just had a big race at Eldora, excuse me, and. There's just a lot of races you can go, 50 miles away or so, and in a certain area.
Right,
They're just
right.
And I've been a race fan forever, and it's just like that area was a good place to grow up as far as.
So what first got you interested in racing? I mean, what was it that you said one day, well, that looks cool, I want to do that, or?
No, I can't. I cannot tell you that because ever since I was, can remember, I've been interested in cars and man and machine.
Okay.
Man and machine. And
I can dig it.
Whether it's a motorcycle, or whether it's a racing car, or a boat.
Right.
Or a snowmobile.
Okay.
But it's man and machine.
Yeah.
And that's all I've been interested in. So.
Cool. Have you had a chance to go out here to Las Vegas Motor Speedway and do any of the driving courses or anything out there?
Absolutely.
Really?
I've driven the Indy car, and I've driven the...
No shit, the Indy car?
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet that was a thrill.
It was great.
Yeah?
It was great, and I had an opportunity to ride with Mario Andretti.
Wow.
in a two-seater
Yeah.
Indy car.
Right.
And that was probably one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
So, and I really enjoyed that. I also drove the stock car.
Wow.
And no, it's very people ask me, were you scared or were you upset, uncomfortable? No.
Yeah.
I wanted to go faster.
Yeah.
So that's where I was at with that. But
So I had a nephew that was out here a couple of years back, and I took him out there to go on one of the ride along, where they do the 3 laps out there, and they do a video. Did they do the video for you? And
I don't think I got a video with that.
Okay, they actually have a video that shows inside the car and outside the car, and watching the video later, I was amazed. I mean, it just looked like you could reach out the window just about this far and touch that wall when they were coming around the turn. So did you find that intimidating at all, or
not really?
I mean, when you were driving?
No, because speed is for the speedway.
Yeah.
Okay, and the highway, no.
Exactly.
When you're in a controlled environment like that with a helmet, roll bar, you got all this safety equipment, and there's nobody else around, and if you do crash, it's going to be just you.
Yeah.
You feel totally comfortable.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people forget when they get out on the freeways and
Absolutely.
out on the open highway, and think they're Mario Andretti.
Right.
And don't realize that the tracks are banked. They're laid out, so that they're designed to handle the vehicles going at that speed and taking, the turns like that. So
absolutely, and the cars also, when you go in the first turn, the first thing you feel, that car just sticks like glue to the turn.
Yeah.
It's not wanting to spin out on you. I mean, the professional drivers go a lot faster.
Well, I've heard that the wheels on the left side of the car are smaller than the wheels on the right side of the car.
That's not true.
Okay,
I don't know where
so
your
that's not
information-
true. See, whoever told me that, you're a lying sack of shit. So I knew it wasn't true. But it would make sense.
Not exactly.
Well, if you're turning left all the time.
If you're turning left, but still you got a straightaway.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
And if
so
you're on a road course, you still got to turn right.
Yeah.
So,
What is your favorite type of course or kind of course?
I would say my favorite type of course would probably be a big oval.
Okay.
A big oval where there's a lot of high speed, and it would be it just a lot of skill involved in just going that fast.
Right.
And but it's a team sport. There's a lot of strategy involved with the pit crews, the tire selection, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Gear ratios, stuff like that, and also the handling package and everything like that. But it still comes down to the driver and the machine.
Right.
In the end. So.
Well, I was out at the Speedway a couple of years back, and I'm trying to remember the team that I was with at the time. Anyway, they had a little problem with the car, and they were 1.5 seconds late getting to the line, and that was it. They were disqualified.
Yes.
You have to. So they have some very strict rules on what you can do, when you can do it, and how you can do it. And I believe, and I know that the crew was devastated, but like the driver said, this is for everybody's safety. And this is why we do the things we do. Yeah, it sucks that we didn't get there in time. It's our fault. We have to play by the rules. If we don't have the rules and we don't play by the rules, then what the hell are we all doing out here? We might as well go out on the street. So,
exactly right.
But that's got to be, because that's not cheap. I mean, there's a lot of money that goes into these cars, and
an amazing amount of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what do your average crew, say in a NASCAR, is what, 10 to 12 guys? With your pit crew and
it's more
mechanics.
Than that. It goes clear back to the guys that build the cars back in the shop.
Okay.
And the shops are just they're got to be like a huge 1,000,000 square foot. Maybe I'm lying about that, but at least 500,000 square foot garages and stuff like that, where guys fab the cars.
Okay.
Most of the people that work at the shop don't even go to the races.
Right.
They just build the cars.
Okay.
Get it set up, get it painted.
But you still have to pay those guys.
Absolutely, and some employees, some teams have maybe 150 guys when it comes right down to it. Right down to it. Yeah, they might have a 3 or 4 car team.
Right.
but they still have a lot of employees that are involved in this.
That's why sponsors are so important.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, I imagine there's not too many people that have that money sitting in their pocket that they're going to want to blow on a race car.
Exactly right.
And not get something in return.
Right.
I mean, at least the sponsors are getting name recognition and advertisement. You know, look at the M&M car and shit like that. So, anyway, so and what is this here? What are you wearing?
Well, that's just a shirt I picked up at the South Point had a indoor motorcycle race.
Yeah.
One time. So I just bought
Indoor motorcycle race.
Yes.
Okay, like a motocross.
Right at the where they run the horses and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, but not a motocross. It was just a flat track.
Oh, okay.
These guys are used to racing on outdoor mile tracks.
Right.
The California group, but they came in from California to put a show on in the indoors.
Cool.
So yeah.
What about the? Have you ever been to one of the motorcycles? They got the little sidecar with the guy standing on it for the. I mean, I know they do that down in Australia a lot, but.
Right, but I've never been to that.
Yeah.
I've never been to that.
You like that?
I do.
Because I think that's truly a team effort there, because the guy standing in the cart is basically balancing the bike and keeping it from going over.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's also, you really got to trust your buddy there.
Yeah.
So there's it's two guys and the
that's worse than being married, huh? So, of all the different types of racing, what's your favorite? What do you enjoy the most? In other words, if you had to choose between, going to the Indy 500 or going to a NASCAR race, that's a bad analogy, because man, you'd go nuts trying to figure out which one to go to there.
Exactly right. And I really do enjoy NASCAR a lot, but my favorite racing is sprint cars on dirt, wing sprint cars on dirt.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I've got some video that I took 3-4 years ago when I went to the UK, and my nephew took me to the racetrack there, and it was all dirt track, and they had. They had the old cars, they had the little mini cars, they had the figure eights, they had, and it was just, I thought it was awesome.
Sure.
Because to me, and I used to ride bikes, so, I love the speed too. But to me, the oval track is just kind of boring. I mean, I love to see, okay, after an hour, okay, I'm done. But on the dirt track and the flat track and stuff, it's just awesome. I mean, I got a shot of these 4 cars coming around the turn, and one of them kind of gets sideways and is stuck in front of all 3. They don't slow down or nothing, man. They just keep on pushing this guy around the dirt, and until they got him pushed out of the way.
Sure.
And so to me, that was a lot of fun. And then the figure 8 track, that's something to see too.
Right.
That's insane. You got to be nuts to race that.
Right, and that takes a lot of skill, but unless you're not worried about crashing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But to calculate and everything, and once they start getting the lap traffic.
Right.
Once they start doing that, it takes a lot of skill. When to slow down, when to speed up, stuff like that. Like driving.
Well, and you've got to anticipate when you're coming around that turn, and where the rest of the pack is, and whether or not you're going to fit in there, or do I need to speed up? Do I need to slow down here? Or
right.
Yeah, so that's got to take some skill.
It's pretty much like driving blindfolded through the spaghetti bowl. About the same thing. So.
Yeah. So NASCAR's your thing, huh?
Yes, and I enjoy the speedway out here.
Right.
It's a very nice
I was going to ask you that. How do you like the speedway out here?
I love it. I've never missed a race out there.
Yeah.
Never missed a race, and it's just a really nice facility. I've been to races all over the country, and as far as the cleanliness, the grandstands, the facility itself is just first rate.
It is. It's awesome.
Yes,
yeah, I've been out there a couple times, and had the chance to go down on pit road and mess with all the drivers and stuff, because I was with somebody and I was filming shit. So that's it is. It was. And the thing that struck me about all of the NASCAR drivers, or the ones that I've met anyway, are they really are friendly. Yes. Approachable,
yes,
and they do appreciate the fans.
Right.
And I never ran across one that was an arrogant asshole. They may have been, in their home life, but when they're down on the track and stuff, hey, There's the frog lady. So we're waving to the frog lady who's out there. Yeah, we're gonna take a short break so we can shoot the bull with Chemo the Frog. All right, guys, we'll be back in just a bit. Thank you.
K-I-M-O, Chemo, that's my name. I'm here to put a smile on your face. I'm just a little green frog, but soon you will see. If you are sad or don't feel well, it helps to have a hug with me. K-I-M-O, Chemo, that's my name. I'm here for you each night and all day. So if you're sad, don't feel well, or have a little fear, remember Chemo is always here. Remember Chemo is always here.
Okay, we're back. That was fun. We had a previous guest on here. Chemo the Frog was a stuffed frog that is given out to cancer patients and children in the hospitals to kind of lift their spirits. So we had to say hi to Chemo, and now we're back with Grady O'Grady. So that's not your real name, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, which part of it is not real?
The O'Grady part.
The O'Grady part.
Yes.
Well, then what is your real name?
Last name is Toy, T-O-Y.
No. Grady Toy? Grady
That's it.
Toy.
That's
Grady Toy. Okay. All right. I'll have to make some kind of weird something out of that. So,
It's not hard to do.
so the one thing about racing that maybe I'm wrong here, but I know a lot of people go to the tracks or watch racing for the crashes, which to me is a little bit sick, because a lot of people have died in the racing business.
Absolutely.
And I mean, going way back. So it's I guess it's kind of a little bit of human nature that, when you drive by an accident, you got to slow down and look. But so who are some of the people that we've lost in the racing world?
Oh, there's been several over the years. I mean, very, very good talents. From Formula One to IndyCar drivers to NASCAR drivers, and it just had they lived, they would have maybe the face of the sport would have been different.
A lot different.
One comes to mind, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Right.
I think he was at the end of his career as far as driving, but I think had he lived, he would have changed the face of NASCAR as far as being a team owner.
Right.
And I think his team would have been the top team right now.
Isn't there some controversy now with his son and the whole Earnhardt dynasty in the business and what's going on there?
I don't know.
Is his
for sure.
ex-wife or something like that? There was some bullshit there.
Right. Teresa Earnhardt.
That's it.
Took over the company after he passed away, and I think she kind of ran into the ground because she wasn't really.
Didn't know what the hell she was doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
She wasn't a racing guy, but he had it all together. I mean, he actually quit school in 10th grade.
Senior?
Senior, yes.
Yeah.
And excuse me, I should have said senior, but
No, that's okay.
And at the time, he was one of the first guys to start marketing himself and selling T-shirts and doing. He just had a very smart-minded business kind of guy. So it was a big terrible loss for the sport.
Yeah.
And but another one comes to mind, a younger driver, Davey Allison.
I remember that.
He died in 1993, and I think he was just on the verge of becoming. He was still a very good driver, but I think he would have won several.
Just coming into his own.
He's just coming into his own.
Yeah.
And I do believe that he would have had a great career, a very great career of championships and winning more races because he was just a very talented driver. But
go ahead.
He really didn't get killed in a racing car, but he was on the way to a racetrack at Talladega and got killed in a helicopter crash.
Right.
So.
But I think that because of some of the things that have happened and some of the deaths and the crashes, is why we have the safety rules and all the safety issues that we have today,
Right.
Because I've seen some horrendous crashes that drivers have just got up and walked away from.
Absolutely.
That you never would have thought. He's toast. He's history.
Right. And a lot of that came about when Earnhardt Sr. passed away. That now they have the safer barriers to the tracks,
Right.
and they have the Hans device, they call it, a head and neck,
Right.
restraining system,
Right.
and he never wore a full face helmet. Now you have to wear a full face helmet. I mean that but there's a lot of safety innovations that came about. They were in, what I want to say, they're coming about,
Right.
but
Developing
that
and
kind
growing
of,
and
kind of accelerated that.
Yeah.
So it's still dangerous, but it's a lot safer now than it was. So
Well, and I don't think that people realize how physical the act of driving one of those cars, whether it's an Indy car, whether it's a NASCAR, dirt track, or whatever. I mean, you get thrown around and beat up pretty good. You're not just sitting there. I mean, even the go-karts. We talked a little bit about go-karts,
Mm-hmm.
and just driving one of those little go-karts around the track, you get beat up pretty good. So I can imagine at 200 miles an hour or 150 miles an hour, going around those tracks that you get your ass kicked pretty good.
you do, and excuse me, a lot of the drivers now are into fitness.
Yeah.
They're into making sure they eat the right things.
Right. It's not being drunk all night and then getting in the car the
That's
next
the way
morning.
it used to be. That's the way
Right.
NASCAR started out. I mean,
Yeah.
there was some
Just a bunch of good old boys.
bunch of good old boys. There's not the good stories now.
Right.
The stories back then are a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, from the guys staying out
Sure.
drinking all night and partying all night. Those are better stories. But today, it's all about fitness. It's all about hydration. It's all about a lot of things. And and I do believe that some of the best athletes in the world are the motocrossers. They really have to be in shape and on
Definitely.
their game and those guys run a 45-minute race, and it's really hot, and they get off the bike and they're just not even breathing heavy.
Yeah.
So
Well, I know what I'm like after driving 500 miles at doing the speed limit, of course. So I can imagine what the hell those Daytona drivers go through
right,
at the 500, or the IndyCar drivers, and you get a quick pit stop and that's it.
right.
So
And they try to stay dehydrated, but they try to stay hydrated.
hydrated, right?
But they work on that maybe all week long to get up to the Sunday race. They
Yeah.
work on their body and conditioning and stuff like that. And so, like I said years ago, they didn't worry about that. They just smoked cigarettes and drank beer all night, and and didn't get much sleep and all that kind of thing.
Over the years, a lot of sports, football, baseball, whatever, has become so commercialized. I mean, I've been so discouraged in seeing some of the football players, and it's almost like once they reach a point where they've gotten to the NFL or they've gotten onto one of the ball teams, that's it. They don't give a shit anymore. It's just they're there for the money.
Right.
I don't see that so much with the race drivers. Is that true?
I don't know, but it doesn't seem like the race drivers are as controversial as
Right. I mean, they still have some respect for the sport,
yes,
and they're in it for the sport, and they're in it for the racing, and because there's not very many of them that are in it for the dollars, because
right.
there's not. I mean, out of all of the drivers that we have in all of the racing, there's got to be like 1 or 2% that are really making any money at it.
Well, the NASCAR drivers, they make quite a bit of money.
Right.
They are millionaires, and IndyCar drivers.
Even the rookies that are just getting started.
They can sign some pretty good contracts.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
And
they've gone through a whole lot of shit just to get to that contract. You don't just, hey, I want to be a NASCAR driver.
Well, there is some things going on, but the guys are getting younger and younger and younger, and I don't know, they have something behind them to get them to where they are.
Right.
So, but they're getting younger and younger, and just used to be if you didn't have 20 years experience, you couldn't even, the guys that raced NASCAR were in their 30s.
Yeah.
They had 20 years experience of dirt tracks and smaller tracks and stuff like that. Then they made the big time. Now kids are coming along 18, 19 years old that probably been racing since they were 5 years old.
Do you think the speed of the cars today has something to do with that? That because they are younger, their reaction time is quicker, or their I mean, I don't know. That's just a theory.
It's just kids have always been fearless. Excuse me, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, and the younger you are, but they, they start out in go-karts maybe at 5 years old. Like
Right.
Jeff Gordon started out that way. Tony Stewart started out that way. Excuse me. And when you drive, you have all that experience behind you. It just comes to you. It's easy whether you're going to develop into a great driver or just an average driver.
Yeah.
And Richard Petty, the king of stock cars, he never drove a car until he was 21 years old. Never drove a stock car until he was 21 years old. He helped with the pit crew. He helped his dad. His dad got hurt. He got in the car, whatever. And but he was 21 when he started driving.
Wow.
And which is kind of unheard of now.
Yeah, today he'd be an old man doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's, like I said, there's kids.
I got an opportunity to meet him out at the raceway and talk for about 5 minutes, and like I said, very gracious.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're a race fan or not, who does not know Richard Petty?
Exactly right.
And
Exactly right. Whether it's racing or not, they know Richard Petty, and but he's done amazing thing for the sport. I mean, he would stay after the race. He would stay and sign everyone's autograph for hours after a race was over, after he's tired, dirty, hot, whatever.
Right.
But he would stay for the fans, and that was his deal. He just loved the fans.
So, how many races a year do you go to out at the Speedway?
Whatever race they have. They have the truck race, and they have the annual weekend in March. So I go to those races. Plus, I go to the Saturday night bull rings they have.
Right. Yep.
And they put a good show on out there.
Yeah.
And it's just more racers that built their own stuff.
Right.
And,
well, I remember before the Speedway was built out there. I mean, the bull ring was out there, and that was just about all there was out there to begin with. That was a long time ago.
Right.
But what's the one event out there every year that you really look forward to? What is your like Christmas morning?
That has to be the NASCAR race.
The NASCAR race?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
And they just added one, haven't they? So there are going to be 2 out here a year now?
There'll be 2. There'll be one in September and one in March.
Wow.
So, so it's going to be a big weekend.
So
two
you
big weekends.
got one coming up in about a month and a half, huh? Or are they starting next year?
It's going to start next year.
Oh, okay.
Just
all
next
right.
year, not this
Did you
year.
get your tickets already?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, big surprise, right? So, what is the? Do you have a memory from the Speedway out there? Like, of all the times that I've been out there and all the things that I've seen, this is the one that sticks in my head the most, or the driver that you got to meet, or whatever. What's the best time that you ever had out there? And you can't say all of them. You got to pick one.
Well, I was going to say all of them.
I knew you would.
But it's just I can't pinpoint one absolute great time I had out there.
Okay, then what's your favorite part about going to the race?
Well, the favorite part is just my wife makes a bunch of food and stuff like that. I run a motorhome. I don't stay out there, but we have a motorhome, and we park in the Lucky 7 lot, and we have some friends come out with us, and we, there's no sense of trying to hurry because you're not going to get out of there anyway.
Yeah.
We go early in the morning, and we stay all day, and we have some good food. We just, all the camaraderie and
good foods,
good fan, and race fans are
loud noise and the smell of nitro in the air.
No, it's not really nitro; it's a stock car. But no, the memory just and race fans are great people.
Yeah.
And there's a few jerks everywhere you go.
Of course.
Of all the race fans are there for the same reason.
So you go out there for the drags too?
I've been out there. I'm not really a drag racing fan. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the speed, the horsepower, and drags are exciting.
Yeah.
But they don't last that long.
I know. Yeah.
They're only
8 seconds in. Yeah.
Well, it's 5 seconds.
Now it's 5. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe less than 5. But I appreciate all the mechanical building the cars,
right?
Getting them all set up and all the technology and all that stuff. And but it's just over too fast.
Yeah.
And but I really do like drag racing, but I'd rather go to a long race myself.
Yeah.
So,
I can dig it.
Yeah.
So what is the one thing what's the one thing that you want people to know about auto racing? If there's something that you say, all right, look, you have to know this about auto racing.
Well, people ask me, not all the time, but they ask me, what is so fun about watching cars go around in circles?
Yeah.
And I say nothing. But if you know the drivers, if you know the background, if you know the strategy involved in, making the car faster or making the car handle better or, building a better mousetrap, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But if you know the drivers, if you watch a race that you don't know anybody in the race or know who they are, it's not really exciting.
Yeah.
It's still something to see, but it's not. It's better if you know the people and after a while you develop your favorites.
Yes.
And you know who you don't like and that kind of thing. So that's the one thing. If you do know the players, all the people, the drivers and stuff like that, and the teams and all that stuff, then it makes it a lot more interesting.
I have a friend that's a horse race fan.
Mm-hmm.
Loves going to the track. And I mean, the guy he's a $2 bettor.
Mm-hmm.
He never takes more than like $20 and goes to the track and spends all day or, goes to the sports books. But for him, the sport is, as you say, he knows all the jockeys, he knows the horses, he knows the trainers, he knows the tracks, he knows all the stats. And for him, it's a puzzle that he's putting together.
Right.
And for each particular race, here's how the pieces fit together for him, and so he goes and bets $2.
Sure.
And that's his therapy, that's his passion, and he loves doing it.
Right.
And I remember when he first got remarried, he had gotten divorced and got remarried, and he was going to the track all the time, and his wife was freaking out. And I said, well, what are you freaking out about? He says he's going and betting all these races. I said, has he ever bet more than $20? I mean, has he ever taken more than $20 with him? And she goes, well, no. I said, so what's the big deal? It's not like he's gambling his, paycheck away, or you haven't lost the house. He still goes to work. He pays his bills. He's not an alcoholic,
Right.
So,
exactly.
But anyway, and so I understand that passion.
Yes.
And there's things that I'm passionate about that nobody else understands. So that's the way I look at it. But the with all of the different types of racing, how do you even have time for a job?
Well,
I mean, you can't wait to retire, right?
Well, there's things that most of the time races on the weekends.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you a little bit.
If you have the power of VCR, you can record anything and watch it anytime you want to. So
well, and it's got to be kind of cool now because with cable TV and all of that, you can pretty much see any race that's going where, can't you?
That's right. Yes, you can.
Wow.
Yes, you can. And you can pick and choose and stuff like that. There's some sports car races I like to watch, but if that's not my favorite. But if it's on TV and nothing else is on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I got it.
Because it's a race.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not like golf where I don't care if there's nothing else on. I'm not watching golf.
Well, when I see a golf course, I think of a big waste of a motocross track.
Yeah.
That's what I think about golf. But people like golf.
No, I like it.
That's their thing.
I get it.
They probably think racing's
like
not the best thing.
So okay, so I got a list of questions here. I think I've asked you most of them. Okay, here's one. How many tracks have you been to across the country?
Oh boy, several. I've been to Daytona.
Okay.
I've been to Richmond, Virginia. I've been to numerous dirt tracks like Williams Grove, Sellens Grove, Lincoln Speedway, Port Royal. There's some I don't. Hagerstown, Maryland, Eldora Speedway, Sharon Speedway, Fremont Speedway. It just goes on, and after I leave here, I'll probably think, "Oh man, there's
I know.
There's about 10 more I could have told John." But
how does the Las Vegas Motor Speedway compare with some of the others that you've been to? I mean, would you put that in the top 5, top 10?
I would put
2?
that right up there, top 2, because like I said, it's a very clean facility. I've been to some where years ago I went to Daytona. This was back in the the early '80s,
Right.
and they just had old wooden, warped
bleachers and
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've known they cleaned it up a lot since then. They've cleaned it up a lot, and they've done a total revamp on the whole place. But this was back in the '80s.
Right.
Now it's totally different.
Oh, it's awesome now, and they have tours out there that you can go out to the Speedway, and they got a little bus tour, and they'll take you around to all of the different tracks that they've got out there, the NHRA, take you to the oval, take you to the bull ring, take you up into the boxes and the bleachers, and really get a chance to see what is out there. And there's the food is great. There's some great food out there when the races are going on, and also they got a kick-ass gift shop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get almost anything that you want at Alice's restaurant. Oh no, that's something else. You can get almost anything else that you want out there at the raceway at the gift shop there, regardless of who your drivers are, who your fan, or what kind of a fan you are, and they got everything. They got jackets, they got clothes, they got hats, they got toys, they got everything out there.
Absolutely.
So and it's pretty cool. And they got the schools out there. So the one that you did, if you drive yourself, that's an all-day course, isn't it? You have to take a class for pretty much the whole day before you get in the car.
Not necessarily. I think it's only like you can probably do the whole thing in probably 4 hours or so.
Really?
Probably maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to stay away from the drive your owns if I only got 3 hours. But no, I'm kidding. Well, that's got to be. I mean, because how many laps do you get to do?
It depends on the package you buy.
Yeah.
You can buy a 5-lap package. You can buy a 20-lap package.
Wow.
It depends how much money you want to spend.
Yeah. Which one did you do?
Well, with the IndyCar, I think I drove the IndyCar 25 laps.
No shit.
And they time you, and at the time that you followed a driver, he was the guy that at the speedway.
Okay.
You followed him, and
So you're on the track with another car.
yes.
Okay, so that
And
makes it a little cooler, huh?
Well, he's the lead car, and you're
Okay.
you're following him.
Gotcha.
So you're trying to keep up with him, makes you go faster.
Gotcha.
So
There's no tow rope or anything, right? He's
No.
not towing you around the track?
no.
Okay, it's up
No,
to you.
No.
Okay.
And it's the speed it is fast. I think I was going about 160 mile an hour.
Wow.
But the car, like I said, it sticks like glue to the track.
Yeah.
Where it's probably 30 miles an hour off the pace from what the big guys do.
Right.
So it's still fast for us, but not for those guys.
What was the hardest part of that for you? Or the part that you go, wow, wasn't expecting that?
Well, just being in that car and feeling the power.
Yeah.
And the way the car handles and stuff like that. It just
Yeah.
that was the biggest part. And same as the stock car. The stock car, like I said, when you drive the stock car, it just sticks to the track, and there is some awesome power there. When
Yeah.
you put your foot down, you'll feel it.
Did it
And,
blow your mind to realize that I could be doing another 60, 70 miles an hour faster than what I'm doing now?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And, you gain a lot more respect
Yeah,
because it seems like you're almost hanging on,
right.
where these guys are going a lot faster than what you are, and
Yeah.
they are really trying to hang on.
Yeah.
So, but it all goes back to technology. They've improved tires. They've improved, suspension, and it just a lot of things.
Right. How about Grand Prix? Been to any of those?
No, I'm I like to watch the Grand Prix,
Yeah.
but I've never been to one. I mean, there's I've been to Watkins Glen. That's another track I've been to watch some races up there. I mean,
Gotcha.
sports car racing, and they used to have a series called the Formula 5000. That was always a good race, and but it's just it's just the formula is just not,
Right.
had to go a long way to see that. So.
Well, I happened to be working for the city of Long Beach the first year of the Long Beach Grand Prix. And my office was up on the 7th floor. I could see the whole track because the city's building faced the ocean there. So that was something to see.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't hear shit, but it was still fun to watch.
Sure.
And I think I kind of liked, there's been a lot of movies about the Grand Prix and all over Le Mans and all that stuff, and but it was just kind of neat, and to see those racing right on the street. In fact, God, 20, 30 years ago, they tried to do something like that here over behind Caesar's Palace, I think. Do you remember that? Were you here then?
I wasn't here then, but I remember about it. It was a Formula One race.
Yeah.
They tried to do that, and you don't hear much about it.
Yeah, I think it only lasted a year, 2 years,
Right.
3 years tops, maybe, and it just didn't go over. Wasn't a big, and that's the other thing out here. The surprising thing about the racetrack out there is that everything that you do in Vegas, you're competing with gaming. So
Absolutely.
to be successful at something in Vegas, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
And I don't know the stats, but I don't think the racetrack out here has ever been not full. I mean, the fans. I think when the races come to town, it's packed out there.
Well, the thing about the track is mostly, I'd say 60 to maybe 80% of the people that come to the racetrack are from out of town.
Right.
Because everybody wants to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And there's guys I work with that they don't even know what's going on out there.
Really?
Yeah, they don't. They might read in the paper and they, wow, there was 150,000 people out there. What was going on out there? And they're just like, but you have to be a fan.
And you're saying, I know, it took me 7.5 hours to get out of the parking lot.
Well, we just drove right out after we,
Yeah.
after we camped all day. But
Okay, so what are the secrets, all right? So you've been going out there for a long time. You know all the secrets of getting in and getting out. What kind of advice would you give somebody that's going out there for the first time?
go early,
Okay,
stay late.
okay,
That's it.
yeah. and figure out which one of the exits is easier to get out of.
That's probably the we get on the 15
Okay.
to get out, but depends what side of town you live on. But
Yeah.
when they first started out there, they had a lot of traffic problems because it wasn't a racing town. They didn't know what they were
Yeah,
doing,
they didn't know what to expect.
and it was just kind of a fiasco at first. But now they've got it pretty much worked out to a science. There's still a lot of people leaving at one time that try to get out of there.
Yeah.
And,
Well, any kind of an event like that. you know.
any kind of event like that, whether it be a concert or something like that. But they've got it pretty well worked out that,
Well, I remember I was out there one time, and this is when Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson they're both on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had half a dozen laps to go or something like that, and I thought, well, I'm going to get the fuck out of here because Jeff Gordon, he's running up front there. He's going to take this, so I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, Johnson didn't win it.
right.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I was there for that. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you mentioned earlier about that these are teams.
Mhm.
Now there are different teams that have more than one car, 2 cars, 3 cars in each race
Right.
in NASCAR.
Right.
So I'm going to ask this question. Since you're an expert, you probably know. Is there somebody that says, you know what, Jeff? This ain't your race. Jimmy's going to take this one. You can have the next one. Do you think there's any of that going on or not?
They say there's no team orders,
Okay.
and I believe that.
Okay.
I do believe that. Now, there's been situations where, when it comes right down to the winning the championship, that maybe that's happened.
Right.
Okay. When it comes to the big prize at the end of the year, maybe that's happened.
Or do you think one of the drivers is going, I better back off because if I beat him, I'm probably going to have to find another team or something like that?
No, I mean, the better you do, the chances are
Okay.
that you'll have a job tomorrow.
Okay. All
And
right.
that's always been true with that.
I'm
but,
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad to hear that.
Yeah,
So,
because, I mean, it always is about going fast and the best finish position you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win,
of course.
but you want to have the best day you can.
Right.
So,
help me out with points. Okay, so there is a point system in NASCAR, right?
Yes.
That if you get so many points, you move into a certain position. And how does that work? How is that figured?
Well, the new point system they have, I really don't care for it. They call it, excuse me, you're eligible for the chase, and at the end of the year, they only take the top 16 drivers for the last 10 races. They have different different stages during the race, which I don't agree with. It's just, I used to like it when they just had, at the end of the year, whoever had the most points was the champion.
Okay, but how do you get points?
Oh, just by your finishing position.
Okay, so down to, if you've got 20 cars in the race, you get 20. I'm just picking numbers out of the air. You get 20 if you win, and you get 1 if you finish.
Yes.
So just by finishing a race, you do accumulate points.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's not like the top 3, top 5, top 10.
Right.
So it's everybody. Okay.
Right, exactly.
So you may not do well in this race, but you can
Right.
do well in the next one, and okay.
Exactly. So it's all about point accumulation, and like I said, they have a thing now. They, which I really don't care for. They throw an intentional caution at the end of like 1/3 of the race.
Yeah, I heard something
And
about that. What
it's
the
just-
hell is that for?
They award points to
Whoever slows down first?
no. Whoever's finished up first, they get points, and they win that stage. Blah blah blah, and then they throw a caution. And
That's kind of bullshit.
I agree, and they mess around for 5 or 10 laps to get the cars into the pits,
Yeah.
and I think if they want to do that, they can have a stage, but don't stop the cars.
Yeah.
Don't throw the yellow.
Yeah.
Keep it going, because this gives them time to. They know they're going to stop at 60 laps or 120 laps.
Yeah.
They kind of figure on that for their strategy at the end of the race.
Gotcha.
But if they're unknowns, that would
Well,
make
and there is a lot of strategy that goes into the racing, because you got to figure your tires. How long are my tires going to last?
Right.
How much fuel do I need?
Right.
Because you can't just let's say that the average fuel tank is 50 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
You can't throw a 60-gallon tank on there and say, okay, I'm going to have 10 extra gallons. So
Right.
because your car has to pass inspections
absolutely
before each one of the races.
right.
And if it doesn't meet the requirements, its weight and all of that. What was it? It used to be the IROC, the International Race of Champions, where all of the cars had to be pretty much exactly the
Identical,
same.
yes.
They all had to be identical.
Right.
So that truly was a measure of the driver
Absolutely.
and how well the driver
Right.
could do. So I thought that was cool. Are they still doing that? They still doing
No, they haven't done that in years.
Yeah.
But right, that was definitely all driver there.
Yeah.
All drivers. So they had to.
Yeah, because everything else is equal.
everything else is equal,
Right.
and it was all about the driver then.
Yeah.
So
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So, on your bucket list of all the things that you've done in racing, what's the one thing that you still want to make sure I get this, or I want to make sure I do this, or go here, or see this? Do you have one? A racing wet dream? Is that?
Wow. There's a lot of tracks I'd like to go to. I've never been to Talladega.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Talladega sometime. And I'd love to go back to Daytona.
Okay.
I mean, it's been since the 80s since I've been there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can probably walk out of here and I'll remember
Of course.
5
Of course.
things
yeah.
that I.
Well, that's okay. Once you leave, I've got 150 questions. I'm going to think, why didn't I ask him that, man?
Right, exactly.
Oh, that was stupid.
Exactly. So, but no, as far as they're just different tracks I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
That I've never been to. Like Knoxville, Iowa, they have it's a great sprint car track. I've never been there. I'd like to do that.
So is there, and let's say at the beginning of the year in January, and you got an RV and you're going to hop in the RV, is there a circuit that you could follow and every week or every couple of days hit a different track? And because I know that the racing is basically seasonal.
Yes.
And so is that something that would be doable? It's something that
Well, if you had a whole pocket full of money.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
And no, you could follow the circuit. But it would be, with a motorhome, you could do that. But it would be a lot of driving, a lot of because sometimes they go from East Coast to West Coast and then back to the East Coast.
So and these teams have to get their cars, all their equipment,
Right.
all their people,
Right.
from this track to this track,
Right.
to this track to this track.
Right. Every week.
So yeah, that's not cheap either.
Mhm.
So
They try to like when they do that, like they try to get everything together for like when they come out to the West Coast, they come to Las Vegas,
right,
then they go to Phoenix, then
Right.
or else I don't know what order it's in, but they
Yeah,
go
but
from,
they
then
try
go,
to.
then they go to California. They try to do that better now.
Right. So they're not going from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas
Right.
to Daytona to Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be like that. I mean, the first race of the year years ago was always Riverside, California.
I remember it well.
Then they would go to Daytona.
Yeah.
So they went from Riverside to Daytona, and in 1 week. So
Yeah.
which now they kind of they try to get things more consolidated. They try to.
And Ontario. Don't forget Ontario.
That's right.
I think that's
Ontario.
gone. That's been gone for a while.
That's
I
been
think.
bulldozed down a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it used to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So it sounds to me like you really enjoy racing.
Oh, I love racing. I really do. Like any kind. Like I said, it basically it's a team sport. It's a great sport. A lot of preparation. It's a lot of just a lot of brain work. And before there was computers and all that stuff,
Right.
guys could, like me and you and I could build a car in our backyard and go out and we could race.
Yeah.
Without it getting without it costing us too much money. But now the price of racing is just astronomical. For a local racer, it's just you have to buy a car. You can't really build your own car anymore.
Yeah. Not anymore.
And I was reading an article in a racing paper the other day that a guy won a feature race, a modified race, and he won like $3,000 or $4,000 for the race, but one shock on his car cost more than that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
One shock absorber.
It probably cost them $30,000 just.
But no,
just to get in the race.
It's just got the prices got outrageous, and it's just like everybody has a hauler truck now,
Right.
And they got a spare car, they got spare motors, they got everything in bare. It's just the guy that used to do it for fun. He's basically he has to have a lot of money just to do it for fun.
Isn't that where the local dirt tracks and stuff like that come in? I mean,
Absolutely.
So because I know out here at the raceway, you can take your car out there for a couple bucks. I don't know, a couple times a month, and race it out there, run it on the track.
I think that's the drag strip.
Yeah, at the strip. That's
It's a strip,
it. Okay,
yes.
yeah.
It's not really the
Yeah.
circle track because you don't want to bang your car up. But no, it's just the prices got out of hand, so it's kind of like put the little guy out of business, really. But
Yeah.
but it's just that's the way things are.
So without getting yourself sued or anything, what do you think is the worst thing that's happened to auto racing in the last 20 years?
The worst thing that's happened is that the cars they all look alike now.
Yeah.
It used to be like back in the 70s, 80s, whatever.
Funny cars.
Well, that was the drag. That's drag
No, I
racing,
know,
funny cars. But you could tell what a Ford Torino was.
Right.
You could tell what a Dodge Charger was.
Yeah.
You could look at that car and you could say, okay, that's a Ford, that's a Chevy. And now they're all cookie cutters. The decals are different and the paint jobs are different, but the car is basically the same body style, same everything.
But do you think that's because of aerodynamics?
Absolutely. It just every manufacturer wanted to try to get the advantage of aerodynamics and everything like that, and they just wanted to make an equal playing field. But in doing that, they've kind of got away from the whole concept of stock cars.
Yeah.
So that's just, and IndyCar is the same way. IndyCar is, it used to be like guys like AJ Foyt would build their own car, and they called that a Coyote, and different team had they called it a Hawk, but now all the cars are the same.
They're all cookie cutters.
They're all cookie cutters, and
Right.
you just go buy them, and it's not even like you build your own motor anymore. You just buy the motors and you put them in there, and and it's just got away from the original concept of who was building the better mousetrap.
So auto racing is a worldwide sport.
Yes.
Do it all over the world. Do you think that the U.S. has any advantages or disadvantages compared to what's going on in Europe or Italy or France or Germany or?
Well, there's more. Excuse me. I think there's more types of racing in the United States.
Okay.
I mean, mostly in European. You watch something in Europe, it's mostly road racing.
Right.
Road racing and Formula One, stuff like that. And there may be dirt tracks, and there probably is. but I don't know about them. I mean, I'm not. Maybe there is more kind of different racing, but as far as I know, that the United States has more different types of racing because just dirt tracks, road courses, everything.
Okay, so as a race fan, I have to ask you this question: Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run. I think is that the coast to coast race? Or
Yeah.
something?
Is that still going on?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a race that's on the highway,
Right.
but I wouldn't. Pay
And it's
attention.
kind of an underground thing that
Right.
it's not something
And-
that they publicize a lot.
Right. So I mean, like I said earlier, speed is for the speedway.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not something you want to put anybody else in danger.
Right.
If you crash and you get hurt, well, that's on you. Where if you're putting somebody's family in danger, and stuff,
Exactly.
that's I don't go for that. So
Good. Well, I got to tell you, this has been awesome.
It has been
I've had
awesome,
a lot of
and
fun. I'd love to have you back sometime if you
I'd
got
love to
something
come
that you
back.
want to come back and talk about, or you can go home and write all the things down that you forgot to say, and I'll write down all the questions I forgot to ask.
Exactly.
And we'll have you back sometime. And
I'd love to come back,
Maybe we'll figure something out and have you be our race guru for WWDBTV. So you can tell us all this crap that's going on. The only problem with that, when the good stuff's going on, he's going to be out at the damn track. So maybe we'll
That's right.
figure out a way to get you to do some live broadcasts from out there or something. So.
I'd love to do it.
Okay, cool. Grady,
It's been a
thank you
pleasure.
so much for coming in and
thanks for having me.
sharing
It's
all
been a
your
pleasure.
knowledge. And like I say, we'll put the phone number up on the bottom. So if you have any racing questions, you can get a hold of Grady 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't worry about it. You can call anytime that you want. He's more than happy to answer any questions that you have about any kind of racing except airplanes. So I'd like to thank you all again, and don't forget about the book signings every Saturday afternoon over at Borders on Rainbow. Go over there, buy any book in the store, bring it by my table, and I'll sign it for you. So with that said, I'd just like to say, if you're going to do it with styles. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Flag coming down to Dale Earnhardt.
1 lap to go. Does anybody have anything left to cope with the man in black?
Here's what's going to happen. Maybe. I thought Terry Labonte was going to try to move down and take over second place, and if he does, that'll just open it up for Earnhardt to move away. We'll see. Naturally, every one of them wants to gain a position, whether it's from fourth to third or whatever, but if they do get side by side, it'll help Earnhardt.
This is a half a lap to go. 4-car shootout to decide it all. Dale Earnhardt.
Here comes Coke down on the inside. Earnhardt has problems.
Slopping back. Something is amiss. Here comes the field driving for the finish. And on the outside, it is car number 10, Derek Cope. Something amiss on the Earnhardt car. Coming to the line. It's Labonte pulling up, and an amazing finish. The Whitcomb Racing Team.